Welcome to a brand new season of the Lord of the Rings Online, and this season I am going to be tackling Eastern Gondor outside of these gates here, so I'm pretty excited about that. As a reminder, this is a 100% playthrough of the game, meaning that I do every single quest and every single deed in a region before moving on to the next one. Since I recorded the last season, there was the big Warden update, which just came out for me a few days ago, so I did spend a lot of time going over all those changes. I basically relearned my class from the ground up. I spent a lot of time looking at all the different gambits. I tried a bunch of different rotations. I experimented a lot. I hit a lot of dummies. I did a lot of work behind the scenes. And overall, I'm pretty pleased with the changes. I think it's really cool how you can kind of chain gambits together to make them more powerful. There's all sorts of cool combinations that you can do. But at the end of the day, for me, right now, it doesn't really matter. The reason for that is, as I'm going through this content, I'm actually a few levels above most of the enemies. So most of the times, as I'm going through the game, I'm killing enemies very quickly. So there's no point in me trying to chain together, 4 different gambits and figuring out the most optimal way to do damage. Because by the time I even do anything significant, the enemies are already dead. So usually, within 1 to 3 gambits, I kill all the enemies in front of me. So there's really no point in me trying to think of, hey, why don't I use this gambit to increase my damage, and then this one to increase my defense, and then I can throw a healing gambit, and then I can chain this damage one together to increase my damage. It doesn't really make sense for me to do that. So that is to say, none of these changes really affect me. I think they will at endgame when I'm doing raids and tackling on really tough solo content, but for right now, it doesn't really matter. I think I've rambled on long enough. Let's go ahead and get started. The other thing that I did do off screen was I updated my legendary weapon. So I just now found out about this, which is kind of dumb. I should have known about this because it's been out for many months now, if not years, I don't know. The whole legendary item reward track, so I just found out about this. So as you gain legendary experience, you can start claiming these, and it's kind of like on a season basis, and you get different rewards. So I started using some of those rewards to upgrade my legendary weapons. So as you can see, I kind of reforged it to bring it up to my level, and then I kind of leveled it up as much as I could with what I have. So besides that, there's not much else to report. Well, let me go kill some Haradrim here, because I have to do that for the epic quest. So this is my second season recording in full HD, which is kind of exciting, I guess. Alright, so I got a new deed here. So forgive me if I'm a little bit slow with the combat. Like I said, I kind of changed all of my gambit rotations. I'm going to be trying out new gambits and all sorts of new things, so I may be a little bit slow to get to all that and learn it appropriately. So right now I am trying this line. It's the offensive strike line, which previously I did not utilize very much. So yeah, it's offensive strike, combination strike, Boar's Rush are the gambits that fall in there, and I don't think they did before, but now they do AoE damage. So they'll attack multiple enemies in front of you. You don't put a bleed on them or anything, but it does much more damage than something like Warcry or Surety of Death, which were my go-to gambits. So especially for low-level enemies like this, I think it's much more efficient to just do the upfront damage like this as opposed to do lower damage and putting a bleed on them. I think this is a little bit more efficient. So yeah, that's the gambit chain I'm going to be running for a while, trying to get used to it. And as I'm looking for some Haradrim here, I would like to remind you to please subscribe to the channel. 75% of people who watch my videos are not subscribed. It doesn't cost you anything, and it certainly does mean a lot to me. It's really important for me to be able to grow, or else my videos just kind of get buried behind everything else in the YouTube algorithm, and I certainly don't want that. Been working hard on the channel for almost a decade now, So I appreciate all of you who have supported me on my journey. I keep trying very hard to improve the content for you. And all I ask is that you subscribe. It means a lot to me. So as you can see, like I was talking about earlier, look at this. It's like one gambit and they're already dead. So it doesn't really matter for me to, you know, figure out the best way to chain everything together. Because the enemies are kind of dead by the time any of that matters. Now, another gambit chain that I've not utilized at all in this playthrough is the Fierce Resolve, Resolution, Exaltation of Battle gambit chains. And those are really cool because they do AoE and they basically leech HP from all the enemies in front of you. So that can be very powerful not only for damage, but also for healing me. So here's a roving threats of Eastern Gondor. Foes from Harad and Morgul Vale have been seen throughout Ithilien, Nanoth. A ranger in Barhurin seeks the assistance of a brave hero to defeat the deadliest of the threats. So similar to last season, I will do all the roving threats in their own episode towards the end of the season, but I am going to pick up the quest if I come along them.
There's naught but ill omens these days.
I have not seen the man you described, traveler. I assure you, were the Lord Regent to visit our village, his presence would be known to us all. You're welcome to wait his arrival here, and perhaps you might be of aid for me in the meantime.
This darkness is a weight on my mind.
I have been trying for days now to convince the people to leave, to seek shelter in Tumladen. It is a great and fortified shelter for our people, one of the few in Gondor, and the brother to one that lies within the lands of Rohan. It is more than able to house all of the people of Lebanon and beyond, and its walls would keep us from the growing war in Gondor. My folk are headstrong, traveler. They think that since Pelargir has been reclaimed and no foes have come to our doors, that we are safe. I do not think it's so. Would you speak to them for me? Urge them to reconsider before it's too late.
There's naught but ill omens these days.
If we are to remain here, as I fear many will, we must better prepare ourselves. When the Corsairs came to Pelargir, we fled the plains back into our homes, and in doing so, we left a great deal of wood behind. I have seen shadows moving among the trees to the south, and I fear it can only be Haradrim that have come across the river. We can lift wood as well as any might, but we cannot fend off the swordsmen of their skill. If we would seek them out and recover our wood, we could keep the fires lit and rest a mite easier. So I guess I should have gotten this quest before I killed all those Haradrim, because it looks like I gotta do it again. That's okay. Let me open up the stables here.
How may I help you, friend?
Let me look at the map, see what I'm dealing with. So yeah, this is Eastern Gondor, which is really cool, because I see Minas Tirith over here. That's definitely a milestone that I've been looking forward to a lot. I heard the lag there is horrendous, but I'll deal with that when I get to it. We have lost so much already, I cannot bear to lose my children as well. I shall heed your request, traveler. Let me set a milestone here. Let me see. Yeah, let me do this Ostangle bed one and replace it. If we surrender to fear now, then what were all our toils for? Let the enemy blot out the sky. I shall not be moved. I would sooner burn my crops and abandon my home. Who are you to speak for the steward?
This darkness is a weight on my mind.
I cannot say I'm surprised that many of them ignore your advice to seek shelter. They have paid me no mind either since the skies went dark. Still, I thank you for trying on my behalf. I only wish to see my people safely through this war, but it remains their choice to make. Okay, so I gotta defeat Haradrim. And collect piles of wood. So the reward track thing is actually kind of beefy because I think it's active for like 3 months. So I've been doing this for a month and a half, I guess, is how much of my experience has been counting towards this. And I only made it to level 37 out of a max 100. So I don't know if I'll even be able to complete that, which is kind of crazy. But I guess it makes sense because I'm doing a lot of underleveled content. Yeah, this offensive strike is doing a lot of damage. It certainly does much more than Warcry, so I can just keep the gambit active, which is nice. And even if there are multiple enemies, like I said, it is an AoE attack. And since I never used it, I can't recall if it was always like that, like I mentioned, or if that's part of it, the new Warden changes. I really should have diversified my play a little bit. But, you know, kind of going through all the changes and relearning the class, I'm a little bit more familiar with all the tools that are available to me. I just don't think I'll be using much of them, since I'm not going to need to. But certainly when I get to more difficult content, then I'll have to really practice. Trying to find more wood around here. Ah, that one didn't kill him. The only thing about offensive strike is that the quick thrust that you started off with has a pretty low range, as opposed to Warden's Taunt has double that range. So it's easier to kind of start the battle from further away if I were to do a Warcry. Kind of rearrange some of the stuff in my skills as well, so hopefully I can get used to that and not press buttons of where things used to be. Alright, there should be one more pile of wood up here. Okay, let me go turn this in. Let me get on the war steed, actually. One big change that is going to affect me is that Never Surrender changed significantly. So for those of you who don't know, Never Surrender is a skill that you could just pop on your Warden, and if you fell below a certain HP threshold, it would give you a giant heal, basically full heal you. And you could just have that active whenever, but now you have to, it only lasts like 10 seconds or something when you pop it, so you have to use it whenever you're about to die. So, and usually when you're about to die, you're like stressed out and you're not thinking clear, so it's going to be a little bit harder to manage the Never Surrender. So yeah, it'll last 20 seconds, so as long as I pop it within 20 seconds before I die, it should give me the heal.
This darkness is a weight on my mind.
If my people will not be moved, I am thankful that you have kept us from harm. This wood will keep our fires lit for some time. I just hope to see the sun again someday.
This darkness is a weight on my mind.
Ah, my friend, the Lord Regent has arrived in Glaniath. I have heard great commotion by the Western Road as he rode in, and he has made it known that he seeks his father, who has been lost in the conflict at Pelargir. Our folk have heard many strange things of late, but I am not certain of his whereabouts. Perhaps you have already spoken to the others of such matters. You have been a great help to me and my folk, and I hope your charge bears fruit, for the sake of all in Lebanon. Let me move my way through the town here, see if there's any other quests I can pick up. Not seeing any quest rings.
This darkness is a weight on my mind.
Ah, there you are, Kippen. I was beginning to worry that you had set off without me. The folk of Glaniath have told me that Haradrim passed by along the roads to the west and south and did not halt or advance to attack. These folk have also spoken of hearing weakened cries of a man among their ranks. I hope my father yet lives, but I fear the tortures of the Haradrim might inflict upon him, if he is indeed their prisoner. The roadway to the west passes to the north and leads up to a great hill on the south beacons of Lebanon. Let us follow it and see if we can discover where the Haradrim have gone. Okay. So he's gonna follow me around, but let me just kind of ride towards where I'm going. Guess I'll follow the road. Haradrim have overrun the road leading up to the beacon. So I gotta kill 8 more of these. Alright, fine. Yeah, so as you can see, that is an AoE attack. Sweet. I'm so used to my old gambits. I need to quit. I need to practice and do what I'm intending to do. So this reversal gambit can remove a corruption from an enemy, so that's something also pretty powerful that I should utilize a little bit better. Okay, so call forth and defeat the leader of the Haradrim. I'm assuming he's going to be up here somewhere on the beacon. And here's a guy. I think this is the one I'm supposed to fight, the Haradrim Slaver. The Haradrim Slaver falls defeated. You can hear the labored breath of a man nearby. Let me see if I can find this prisoner. There he is. You have discovered Lord Sirgon of Pelargir, bound and barely standing. Too weakened to support himself, Lord Sirgon falls to the ground. Let me summon my guy here.
These are troublesome times indeed.
I had begun to lose hope, my friend, but I fear our journey is not yet over. My father's condition is greatly concerning. He looks starved to the bone, and his wounds risk infection. I wish to look over his wounds, but I do not wish him to see the worry in my eyes. Speak to him and draw his attention for a moment.
We woke this morning to no sun, no light of day.
Sirgon gazes into the distance at the ruin of Pelargir, his eyes heavy and laden with tears. He musters a weak smile as you approach him. I believe none yet live to search for me, but you have proven me wrong, Warden. You have renewed the hope that the men of Harad stole from me as they forced me to watch my city burn. I may be but a lord of ruins, but my family lives yet, and there is still a dawn waiting to pierce these skies.
This darkness is a weight on my mind.
My father needs the care of a healer, and Pelargir is no place for the wounded. There is a fortified haven nestled in the mountains to the east known as Tumladen. It is a shelter to my people during the times of war, and indeed many of the folk of Lebanon and Lossarnach have already sought refuge within its walls. It is there that I must bring my father, and with haste.
This darkness is a weight on my mind.
With Pelargir in such ruin, Tumladen may well be the only shelter that still remains in Lebanon. While I long to look upon my wife and son again in Ost Engelbed, and we have come too far to make such a journey. My father is in dire need of food and rest, and I too grow weary, for bearing the blade and armor so long has tired me greatly. I know that you desire to rejoin Lord Angbor, but if you would meet me and my father in Tumladen, I can aid you in readying yourself for the journey ahead. The gate wardens have been known to refuse outsiders during times of war, but if you mention my name, I am certain that they shall let you pass. Let me get on the war steed. Definitely gonna take a lot of practice for me to get used to the new gambit rotations that I'm trying to go for. Is this the best way to get there? I don't know. I'm just gonna try my best because it looks like it's all mountains here to the north, so I don't know how I'm gonna penetrate north. I think that I probably should have gone north from the beacon. Yeah. Yeah. It's not the start of a season if I don't get lost, right? My God. Yeah, that was stupid of me, because I basically climbed on top of the mountain. So I should have known better. There you go. I can just keep going north, I think. Maybe? Maybe this is wrong too. Oh, no. I almost fell. Oh, man. You know what? Let me get on my regular steed for now so I can maneuver a little bit better. And really, I don't know how to get up there. Maybe it's through here, actually. You see, this is all walls, so maybe I do need to get on this road and follow it up. In fact, that is what I'm going to do, so let me use the milestone skill. So I was going the right way all along. Okay, let me get on the war steed. Oh my gosh. Wow, what a mess. How do I get out of here? You know what? I'll go through the south gate because at least that's guaranteed. I know for a fact I can get out this way. Alright, now I'll just follow the road. That should take me to Tumladen. Let me just go up this way. I don't need to follow the road all the way around. I can just go straight to it. Gonna be some warbands here. I'm gonna ignore all the warbands and do them all in a single episode towards the end of the season, like I did the previous one. I think that's the best way to do it. Keeps things very organized. Nice and tidy. Alright, so here we go, Tumladen.
There's naught but ill omens these days.
What interest have you in Tumladen, traveler? You explain your adventures with Faltheron and Lord Sirgon, and your desire to reunite with them. Ah, so that's it then. Yes, the Lord and his son arrived quite recently, but how can I be certain of your intent? I have to kneel before him, I guess. Very well, on your feet, I shall allow you entry, but do not make me regret trusting you. Tumladen has become home to many displaced refugees. Let me put another milestone here Okay, interesting place. The layout here is a little bit weird.
This darkness is a weight on my mind.
Kippen, at last you have arrived. My father and I were beginning to worry that you were not coming after all. In our short time here, I have heard peculiar things, but there are more pressing matters at hand.
There's naught but ill omens these days.
My father's health is of great concern to me, Kippen. Although he has been in good spirits since we freed him from his captors, his flesh has grown pale, and his breaths are growing more labored by the hour. I have yet to find a healer in Tumladen, though I'm certain one must be here. However, I learned interesting things from the Rangers of the North before they left Pelargir. They spoke of kingsfoil as an herb of great restorative use and gave its name Athalas. Can you imagine such a thing? Kingsfoil is not but a weed. Yet, I cannot leave any stone unturned. If you would seek out kingsfoil outside Tumladen and return it to me, I would be grateful. Also, if you happen upon any food within Tumladen, even a mere loaf of bread, it would be greatly beneficial to aid my father's recovery.
This darkness is a weight on my mind.
When my father and I arrived here, the gate warden told us that many folk of Minas Tirith are seeking shelter within these walls. Many, indeed, from what I can tell, they seem to delight in rumor mongering, and I do not blame them, for thinking of unbelievable tales and happenings may only be respite from the encroaching darkness. For my part, I have heard little of Minas Tirith in recent days, and I suspect that the folk here might know more. Speak to them while I attend to my father and tell me what you learn. Very big place.
I am afraid to wander too far from home lately.
Do you think we'll be safe here? My mother says we will, but she hasn't spoken much since we arrived. Father stayed in Minas Tirith to guard the gates, but I wish he had come along with us. If you travel that way, you'll look for him, won't you?
What has become of our lords in the east, I wonder?
A warden or not, you would be wise to seek shelter here, traveler. The steward showed great wisdom in sending us to safety. Minas Tirith's defenses are great, but even greater are the forces of the enemy who would see it torn down stone by stone.
As we left Minas Tirith, I saw smoke rising from Osgiliath.
Do you plan to travel to Minas Tirith? I would advise you rethink your course. If the city is not already besieged, it soon will be. Much of my family has been evacuated, but my sons remain behind at the request of their commander. They will defend the city and are glad for the chance, but I am afraid for them. As we left Minas Tirith, I saw smoke rising from Osgiliath. I hope Faramir holds it still, but I do not know how long even he can last. He is the son of the steward and very brave, but I have heard that the enemies and their armies are arrayed against us and are vast and uncaring. I have heard also that Boromir left on an errand to the north and has not yet returned. I would feel better for my sons if Boromir returned and stood on the front lines. May it be soon. Right now, we await word that it is safe to return to the city. Tumladen has enough supplies for its garrison, now absent. So we should be able to stay here for as long as necessary, but I hope this is resolved quickly. Press the wrong button there. Okay, so I can gather some provisions here, it looks like. Some bread. That was all the bread, I guess, in this area. Massive place, man. I guess it does take up like the whole northern half of this map, so not that surprising.
They say I am too old to fight. Ah.
Even if the desire to protect my home and my family burns as brightly within my bosom as it does within those of younger men, I'm not afraid to die, if that death were to be in the service of the steward Denethor or his brave sons. Still, I have been carted here to wait for the end with the children and the women. What justice is there in that? They say that the son of the steward holds Osgiliath, but how long can he hope to stand against all the armies that pour out of the east? That city has changed hands before, but it seems to this old man that the next time it falls may be the last. When that happens, I think that they will rue sending us away. The White City will need folk to wield swords, no matter their ages. Mark my words and mark them well. There's a ton of refugees, man.
There's naught but ill omens these days.
I did not believe that I would ever think such things, but I am glad to be so far from my home. I have heard tales of a great army mustering in the ruins of Osgiliath, and though the Steward has sent his son, I fear for all of us in the coming days.
What has become of our lords in the east, I wonder?
Do you know what happened in Pelargir? The people of Glanaith have come to Tumlaren and have been told of hearing of a great chorus of screams, even from so far away. What happened to the Corsairs, and why do their ships still sail on the Anduin? Lord Angbor has come, and he does not speak to us as openly as he once did. You tell the woman only that you cannot speak on the matter. Why do you keep secrets from us? Does the war go so poorly?
Hello there.
Wow, that is a very deep voice for that kid. Are you a halfling? You look like a halfling to me. Are you a hero? The boy looks at you with wide eyes and an admiring expression. You must be journeying to Minas Tirith. They are going to need you there. I am certain of it. There is going to be a war, and it may have already started. Are you going to be in the thick of the fighting? I would be if they'd let me. I heard that there was another halfling in the White City. Do you know him? I did not see him, but he could not have been much taller than I am, and I wager that he will be allowed to fight. Why not me? I heard tell he was a friend of Mithrandir the Grey. Perhaps that is the reason. Some folk have all the good fortune, and leave none of the rest to us. It's not fair. Sorry, my phone went off. Let me silence it here. Don't want any distractions. Usually I silence my phone before recording, but sometimes I forget. I'm only human. Alright, there's one more refugee here.
There's naught but ill omens these days.
I have learned tales of many strange things at the Battle of Pelargir, but I do not know what truth there is to any of them. You've traveled with Lord Sirgon and his son. What have you seen? The man's face sinks as you remain silent. Forgive me, traveler. I only wish to keep up my hopes. Alright, so this is a decent stopping point for this episode. I hope you're excited about this new season. I'm really enjoying the travels here in Gondor, especially inching closer and closer to the epic place that is Minas Tirith. So thanks as always for watching, and see you next time.
Thanks for stopping by the Renaissance Gaming Monastery. I hope you join our community on Discord and Twitter. These videos are produced with a lot of hard work and love. If you think they're worth $1, I'd be grateful for your contribution. You can send a thanks donation or become a member on YouTube. You can also support through PayPal, Patreon, or even with cryptocurrency. All links are in the description. See you on the next video.